The next Foxhole update is finally here. For those who haven't been following along, the Foxhole developers have started a new update cycle where they plan to release new content, balance changes, and improvements roughly every 6 weeks. Today I'm going to give a quick overview of all the major additions coming with this next update, and what these changes mean for the game and what the next Foxhole war could look like. First, let's talk about one of the biggest additions coming with this update: anti-aircraft AI guns. Players have been asking for some form of automated anti-air defense ever since the Airborne update was released, and they are finally here. These AI guns will be placed by the devs in the rear line airfields and towns. They will automatically detect enemy planes and use their spotlight to track them. After spotting a target, they will fire 3 warning shots before opening fire with accurate rounds. The devs have also programmed these guns to prioritize heavy bombers if multiple planes are within range, which should help protect airfields and logi towns from major bombing attacks. I imagine this is just the first step toward AI anti-air defenses in Foxhole. The devs will likely want to see how these perform before thinking about or adding player-built AI structures into the game. Personally, I really like the idea of the 3 warning shots. It gives players a chance to react instead of making these guns feel like an instant plane destroyer. It's honestly probably better for them to start slightly weaker and have the devs adjust them in future wars, rather than making them something that completely shuts down air operations altogether. For those that are familiar with Foxhole, these are basically coastal guns for the sky. Speaking of coastal guns, the devs have also given them a visual upgrade during this update. The old versions were starting to look pretty outdated, so this refresh was definitely needed. Along with the new AA defenses, the devs have also changed how aerial radars work. Previously, aerial radars provided intel in a cone shape, but now they will show intel as a circle. Their range can vary from 500 meters all the way up to 6,000 meters, and the closer an aircraft is to the radar, the larger the intel circle becomes. The goal is to encourage players to use these structures to monitor enemy airfields behind the front line and give defenders more time to prepare for incoming attacks. This will be great for when players need to scramble to fighter planes, and should give them more time to react to incoming bombers, and also it just really makes the structure more valuable and makes players want to build it more often now. Another small but useful change is that heavy bombers will now have their own map icon, making them easier to identify on the intel map. The next addition is the air siren. It's a neutral piece of equipment which will play a sound whenever an enemy plane that is not a scout plane comes within 500 meters of it. The devs are hoping this will help alert players around the front line in case they need to seek cover or man their AA positions to deal with the incoming threat. I just hope the sound is not too loud or too annoying. I hope they make it a really cool sound that makes it exciting. I already know the modding community out there is going to come up with their own sound variations for this item. The next change is another small one, but something players have been requesting since the Airborne update. The aircraft radio is being removed. Now all radios will provide both ground and air intel. In my opinion, this is a good example of the devs listening to player feedback and making a direct improvement based on how players are actually using these items. Another small equipment addition is a new pilot mask. Since the radio slot was previously taken by the parachute system, pilots needed a new way to receive intel while flying. The pilot mask solves the problem by giving players intel without taking away the parachute equipment slot, and those are the major airborne changes coming with this update. Now let's move on to the naval side of things. For naval players, the devs are adding dedicated naval bases in several regions. These locations are designed to make it easier for players to safely store and maintain large ships instead of leaving them around seaports or riverways. The devs have also stated that they hope these new bases will reduce the need for naval ships to return to rear line regions for repairs and for rearming. Each location will include coastal and AA guns, logi infrastructure, rail connections, and space for a couple of dry docks. This should really boost the naval engagements and gameplay within the game. Along with these new bases, naval gameplay is also receiving some minor improvements. Mine boats can now deploy torpedo nets. These nets will block smaller ships and detonate torpedoes that attempt to pass through them. However, the devs did mention that these nets are fragile and can be destroyed by machine guns or even larger ships ramming into them. It should be interesting to see how players end up using them. They could be extremely important for protecting naval bases or controlling important waterways. Next, the devs also redesigned the interiors of the Colonial Destroyer and the Warden Frigate based on player feedback. These ships should now have a layout that's more functional within the game, and those are the major naval changes coming coming with this update. Now let's talk about some quality of life improvements and balance changes. First, the devs made some behind the scenes technical improvements that should allow players to load faster into regions. It's not the kind of change most players will immediately notice, but it's always nice seeing improvements like this. Next, factories are also getting some minor changes. Players can now use shift-click options to quickly remove items from factory queues. For example, if you accidentally have rifles and ammo queued up and only want to remove one type of item, this should make managing production much easier for players. Another great factory improvement is that players can now see their order status directly on the map when hovering over the factory. As someone who constantly does other logi tasks while waiting for production to finish, this is a really useful change. It means less time standing around checking factory times and more time actually getting things done. The devs have also improved the map pin system and added the ability to refill fire suppression rooms using nearby liquid containers. Finally, some notable balance changes include adjustments to aircraft costs and allowing field machine guns to switch into an anti-air mode. There will be more changes coming with this update, but we'll have to wait for the dev branch and the full patch notes later this week to see everything included. I will make sure to link those in the description below once they are published. Overall, the Foxhole community seems pretty excited about this update so far. And honestly, the current war we are fighting in has been going very well. Looking ahead at the roadmap, we should see another update around mid-August and another one toward the end of September. I think this new 6-week update cycle was a great decision from the devs. It gives them an opportunity to constantly improve the game while keeping things fresh for the players. There are still plenty of changes the community wants to see, but these updates show that the devs are continuing to listen and make improvements. What changes are you most excited for in this update? What changes are you still waiting to see the developers add? Let me know in the comments. Later this week, I'll be making a Patreon and Ko-Fi video going over the full patch notes once they are released. If you want to support the channel and get access to that video, along with over 40 other exclusive videos, I'll leave a link in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching and for your support. Make sure to subscribe for more Foxhole content. I'll see you out on the battlefield. Cheers.